Hello again. This is Vincent Faney, and this is the second part of the series. I'm putting this together on my new DVD, and I'm putting some together for YouTube, just to shamelessly plug my book and DVDs, and to give people some education free out there on some of the things they need to look at weightlifting. I wrote this book, Zen and the Art of Resistance Training. This is for any of you who failed to look at my first intro. This is the intro. This is the second. And wrote this book. I started writing in 1996 at the provocation of my ex-fiance, who I now consider the Antichrist. But she basically saw what I was writing and saw that it was. Now I had no writing skills. As you'll look through this book, it still needs a lot more editing, but it's great information, and a 600-page manual, and it's broken down. And let me give you some creds. In the first one, I kind of introduce a little bit of where I come from and where why I wrote this book and how unathletic I was, and how I reached world-class level of strength, and I wanted to show what I look like. And anyways, that's the Zen book, the cover, 600-page manual. This is who I've always wanted to look like. Bill Pearl is another person I've wanted to look like. Now, the first bodybuilder I've ever seen, some of the pictures of bodybuilders that come out of York, I didn't realize they were holding themselves in really odd positions, trying to way exaggerate the suck into the waist and the big chest. And a lot of these guys are bulky, they're a little smooth, they look clumsy, they look tight. I didn't realize they were posing, but their bodies didn't appeal to me. Now, the first person I've ever saw that I thought was too big for my taste, that I would never want it to be as big as, was Arnold Schwarzenegger. And but I thought he had symmetry. I thought for a guy that was too big than what I wanted to be, had symmetry and still had a certain aesthetic appeal. So that's what I wanted to. I didn't want to look like him, though. Now, when he got more polished after that, of course, he started looking better. But still, even though he got more pleasing, this is who I wanted to look like. The first time I saw a picture of him, I thought of Lord Greystoke, or Greystoke, Tarzan of the Apes. Somebody who looked like he could actually swing through trees and do handstands and do all sorts of athletic things. Now, Frank Zane, I recommend all his books. Not just, even if you don't want to be a bodybuilder, there's no reason why you can't be an amazing strength athlete and performance buff without looking like this. He's got his degree in psychology and mathematics and his teaching credentials, and he's very smart. In philosophy, he's got his degree in philosophy as well, and it's a very spiritual, intellectual pursuit towards bodybuilding. He's only one of two people that have ever beaten Schwarzenegger. And I stood next to him. He's about 5'9", 5'10", and he's was 170-some pounds when he beat Schwarzenegger because of his perfect symmetry. That's what I look like myself, and I'm going to get more over this. Back then, I was about 42 years of age. I weighed 181. I was 5'8". Now, according to the doctors, I had knee problems from the service and so forth, and part of it is because my one leg's like a half-inch shorter than the other. And all the running in crappy combat boots and stuff screwed up my knees. But when the orthopedic specialist saw my legs, they said that according to my thigh bones, see, I have short thighs, and I'm 5'8", and if my thigh bones, it looked, according to them, I had some sort of malnutrition going on as a kid, which I did. When my parents got divorced, we lived in North Carolina and didn't get all that much food, and from jumping out of trees and pounding, caused my bones to fuse prematurely, my thigh bones. Not my arms or anything else, but the combination of pounding and jumping out of trees and malnutrition. I've lost about, according to them, 3-4 inches in height. So I would be probably about according to them, 5'10" to 6 foot tall. But it gave me better leverage for squatting. Anyways. So I weighed 181 pounds. Right here is 8% body fat, and I could have got down to 5% body fat. And I wanted to get to 175. And I did measurements, and my arms flexed were 18. That's the biggest I've ever got them, at that low body fat. My neck was 21 inches, and this straps here, mainly that was that massive in thickness was from a lot of heavy behind neck presses and presses, I think. Waist sucked in was 28. Relaxed, just hanging out there, totally relaxed, 30 to 32, depending how you measured. Legs were 30 inches around, totally solid legs, no fat on them. Calves, 19. Now, at the time I was bench pressing, I did a 480 for 1 rep without steroids, without shirt. Now, I've never taken steroids, ever. Not one pill, not one injection. because as you can see, I'm an obsessed person of trying to figure out puzzles of various ways of training and the building up without any sort of artificial means. And it might be, I don't take a moral stance against steroids. I think if you take steroids and you enter drug-free competitions and you get caught, you should be banned from competing in anything whatsoever, because I think that's pretty low and small. But if somebody just wants to take steroids to get big and strong, I don't, that's their gig, not mine. But I was trying to be scientific, and I didn't want to muddy the waters. If I did a 480 bench and I was taking steroids, I'd have to wonder, well, how close was I getting on my own? So I was pretty obsessive about that, still am. I did 480 for 1 rep without a shirt, without steroids, without any real bodybuilding supplements. I didn't take creatine then or anything like that. And I just missed getting 500. And this was so easy, and I just missed this. I'm confident I would have got that. Now, it was my all-time, well, it's not my all-time record, but that was my first giant record. I believe that the human body, I believe the human body could, there's no reason why a person, if they're training, couldn't be strong as a chimpanzee or any strong animal pound for pound. So you're looking at like a 700,000 pound bench. Anyways, after I did 480, okay, I benched 430 pounds at the end of a high-end workout, and that you saw on previously that I showed people on a poster, on a poster board or competition board at Ironworks. And it was the end of a high-volume workout, and after many sets and reps, until I could not go up to a weight anymore. Now, this was an unusual workout because I was getting ready to go to the next phase of training, cycle to the next phase, and I wanted to see what I could do at the end of a workout for 1 rep. Now, I used to do this years ago, and I started avoiding repping out later, except once every 5 weeks or 4 to 8 weeks, 5 weeks average, because repping out too much is just too hard on the nervous system. It takes you, once you deplete your nervous system, endocrine system, it takes like a month to get it back. It's just not a good idea, and it's counterproductive and leads to injuries. But anyways, my best bench for high reps was 300 pounds for 25 reps with the pause on the bottom and a full extensions. Definite pause, like a split second, set to a second. I go 1 Mississippi, boom. 300 for 25 reps. Then I'd go to 325, because my dream was to get down to 175, bench press with pauses, 350, twice my body weight for 25 reps. And then what I wanted to do is I wanted to do, bench 3 times my body weight at the end of a workout. Like I wanted to do 520 something. Then I wanted to do 4 times my body weight if I went to a power meet without a shirt, without steroids. That's what was my dream. So I thought, okay, I'm 50 pounds away from twice my body weight, and losing a few pounds to do that here. And was only a few pounds away from a 3 times my body weight bench, which is rare, by the way. Not very many people on the planet has done that without a shirt. Even in the old days, when it's just rare, even with shirts, even shirts today. Anyways, I did 230. I didn't know that the NFL football players have been big on seeing what they could do for 225, how many reps they could get, and they've been doing that for the past 30 years. I really don't follow football, and I didn't do 225. I like the tens. Like I like going to like 100 and 110 and 230 and 250. So I thought 2 big plates and little tinklers, 2.5s, 230. I did, and I go with a great deal of speed, 62 reps in 60 seconds. So since I'm trying to see how many reps I can cram into a 1-minute interval, I go on as fast as I can. I did full extensions, but I bounced the crap out of this weight. I did dips with 300 pounds strapped on my body at a time. Now I could get up my body weight and do like, 60 to 100 dips just with my body weight. Seated behind the neck presses, I did 300 pounds for 1 rep. And that means I would bring the weight all the way down this low, right below my traps. I would full extension, bring the weight down, and push up all the way. That's how I used to train with the high reps too. No, I did off the rack. Sometimes I would train partials, boom, 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 boom. A lot of guys, that's all they do, even if they don't have a rack. You see here guys that say, well, I press 300-400 pounds, and they bring it right to the top of their head or a little bit down to here. And that's good, and that's necessary to do. I did off the racks at various levels too. Of course, I was doing more than 300 pounds, go up to 400 and some pounds here for some reps. Now, and believe me, that's what puts the mass right here. Anyways, so I did a lot of presses, And I did behind the neck presses seated, 200 for 25 reps I could do on occasion. Standing front press from the floor, 280 for 1 rep. My biggest thing was bring it from the floor to shoulders. It takes a lot of technique. I have speed, but my technique's not is that good. I kind of brewed it up. Front press is standing from the rack, 325 for 1 rep. Standing front press is 225 for 25 reps. And then I did 10 reppers and stuff. Seated dumbbell presses, 150 pounds for 10 reps. I have 4 strong guys holding, just so that I wouldn't rip my shoulder, and they wouldn't have to lift it up to their chest. But I had like 2 guys on each side of these big dumbbells, 4 guys rather, 2 on each side. And because I don't have the bicep strength to be pulling up 150-pound dumbbells from the seated position, curling it in the shoulder. Upright bodybuilding squat, 425 for 25 reps, starting weight, mid stance, and finish off the 600. I'd pyramid up. This would be a workout, and I'd finish off on average here. And no suit, no steroids, no belt. When I did this, no belt, no knee wraps. I wouldn't use knee wraps or belt until I get out like under 5 or under reps, because I don't, you got to build your tendons and ligaments, and using too many support equipment is like a crutch. Powerlifting hip squats, you see Louis Simmons, those guys do hip and quads. It's just halfway. It's a half good morning, half squat, and use your quads and hips and everything. 525. Immediately, you get used to this. You immediately, for everything you do here, whatever rep range, you immediately do 100 pounds more, and it really works the quads and hips and lower back. The best deadlift ever was 600 pounds, and I did that at like 170 some pounds. It's a mediocre by world-class powerlifter standards, and I got a broken L5. Best deadlifts, 400 for 25. I'd stand on a block and just, had to reach a little bit past my toes. Leg machine, I'd start with 1200. I got really heavy in the leg machine because I broke a thoracic. I fell one time and I was doing some heavy off-the-rack squats, and it kind of did compression factor at my thoracic vertebrae. According to the doctor, I could tell I hit a fall. I actually hit a corner of the washing machine and fractured it. And doing 1,100-pound squats off the racks, quarter squats and stuff, I was forbidden from doing anything on my back or deadlifting for 6 months, so I hit the leg press machine really hard. And I did some damage to my lower back. I didn't find out till a year later. That wasn't apparent because there was no pain involved, and I'll talk more about that later. But I could really move the weight. 1,200 for 25 reps. I pyramid up to 1,500 for 15 reps because it max out. That's all the plates you could fit on the machine. But sometimes I'd have a couple guys crawl on the top and do more, try to get down to the under 10 rep range. Leg curls, I don't have strong hamstrings, not as strong as they used to be. Overhand preacher curls, 125 times 25 reps. Underhand preacher curls, 130 for 25 reps. 180 standing strict, more of a vertical, moving it from almost a stand, except I used a support, because this is like close to my body weight, 1 pound shy of my body weight, and I had to be really wedged into this one type of preacher curl that was almost mimic a standing curl, so I wouldn't fall forward. And that was my best. Now that's pretty strong, but compared to my chest and everything else, my arms always kind of tough. They lag behind. My bicep and arm speed's very fast, but I just had trouble putting size on my biceps. Now again, this is the gym. For you guys who didn't see me explode this up before in the previous video, this is where I was. This is 510 squat. Now this is a board that they put up, and they didn't keep it. They have more of a span in weight classes than powerlifting competitions do. And I was this went from 176 to 200. I weighed about 180, 81 right here. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to get back in this weight class, have these numbers over here. I was shooting for Udo's bench. He was the strongest bencher at the time before Steve Shipley came on the scene, and he was the strongest squatter, as you can still see there. Now, Udo and Shipley and myself are kind of shy. We don't go running to people and say, look, please witness me. I want to go for this. I want to go for that. We just don't do it. And so, these guys, I don't know which ones it is. They actually are like shooting for our records or their records. And so you could have them say, I want you to witness this. So, Gene and John put on Olympic lifting competition stuff, and their coaches and their judges and referees are certified. And every now and then they come out and see us working out. Now, before I did this, David Honstein, who was about my body size, a little shorter. He former Mr. Oregon, teenage Oregon bodybuilder. Very big quads and hips. He did a 495 squat. He called the guys out, said, watch me do this. He did a 495. So I wanted to get into a friendly competition. I figured I'd just do 510, even though I was generally ending with 600. And I thought, just a tweet. I didn't want to say anything. And he'd come out and he said, you did 510. I was hoping he'd go for 515. And I know he could have got 515. I was hoping we'd have a friendly competition that kind of, I go up to 520, he would go up to 525, 530, and I tried to beat him, you know, that sort of thing, to motivate both of ourselves, to push ourselves. Now here I did 430 at the end of a grueling workout, just to see where I was before I cycled and attempted that 480, 500 fresh. Udo never used to go and say, please watch me. Udo used to do this 605, he did that for reps. Okay? Now he went down so low. He's a big guy, about 6'4", 6'2", 6'4", 280, a refrigerator. If you check out the track and fields and type in his name, Google his name, he's been all around the world. Used to be on the West German Olympic team for shot put, I believe the hammer as well. And he very explosive, very fast. He had a 420 bench at the time, I think he had this, I beat his record. I believe he had not quite that, but he was who I was shooting for before Steve came on the scene. Anyways, he used to do 850, 900 in a squat. And he used to just, wouldn't wear knee wraps, wouldn't do anything, wouldn't even have a safety squat cage rack. He just, like on the freestands, walk back, touch his butt to the floor almost, and boom, up like that, real quick. Explosive. The weights just look like they're going to snap. And I used to use leg presses to augment my squatting power. And I said, Udo, how come you don't use a squat rack, and how come you don't use a leg press machine? Could you imagine what you do? He goes, no, I don't know how to say that. He had very strong West German accent and still learning English. I think it's for, how do you say, pussies. So I was like, he wasn't trying to insult me, but that's all he could think of. Steve Shipley, physical therapist, world champion for his age and weight, bench 610. Now he did that with a shirt, but Steve Shipley could do 495 for 4 or 5 reps. 3 to 5 reps. He was witnessing, and he didn't call Gene and John, the owners, say, "Watch me do this." He's very shy. He's like working out, and he wouldn't go. He wasn't he wasn't going to rep out. And they said, "Okay, we'll put that up on the board." And of course, he beat Udo's record. Shipley's about my height, maybe a little taller, maybe an inch taller. He's really ripped now, but he was up there around 240, 250. Big guy, very shy, very smart. And now with high reps, he does 60-some reps every now and then. He'll just go for it in the bench. Okay, so anyways, I feel kind of weird talking about me. This is what I've done because I'm trying to sell something here and to prove my credibility. This was a chest routine I did that I finished up on the board. I'd warm up. I do more warm-ups than a lot of people like. Did 300 for 25 reps with pauses. Did 325 for 22 reps, very explosive, bouncing the hell out of it, full extensions, very loose. And these are the weights that I did. I did German 10s. I went back down and did 10 reps, 10 sets of 10. Because I was just starting a German 10s routine to where I would cycle for more, and that's before I did the 380 or 480. And then I would do this. A lot of strength endurance. I purposely worked for years to build up as much strength endurance. Every time I go into a workout, I strive to get more reps on my first set, more reps every set, and obviously finish off higher. So I did this, and then I dropped back down to 230, do 25 more reps. Sometimes I go at the K-bar. Now I had years of experience, and I was guinea pig. I used guinea pigs back in 1983. I opened up a gym. Because I thought, well, it'd be great to get paid to work out and to work out, to train other people and to put them through painful workouts and make them sore. I really enjoyed the thought of that. And it was interesting. A lot of guinea pigs here. I learned a lot from this gym. That's me at 14. I was a wrestler. And I was massing up from lifting. And I just started lifting. And I tried to suppress my caloric intake to stay at a weight class. I had no interest in getting big. I liked being skinny, and I liked being deceptively strong. And of course, I found out that the few times I didn't watch my calories, and I just ate as much as I wanted, I really didn't put on size that easy. And I know now it's because I worked out with conventional workouts. Now my strength went up faster, and I made gains in short, in shorter amount of times. Even though looking back now, those gains are more painfully slow than they needed to be. But compared to my friends, I think that was because I was skilled at self-hypnosis and also motivated and so forth. More of a, as you obviously will know, obsessive and focused. Me in the service, I don't recommend a beer and cigarette diet. Again, doing lots of running, a lot of lifting, striving to stay skinny. Bulkier here than I wanted to be. So I wanted to be this skinny, but the problem with, if you're not really up on exactly how to diet and lose weight, you could end up losing 2 pounds of muscle for every pound of fat you lose. So if you look here, I'm more ripped here than here, even though I'm skinnier here. And that's because of the way the body works. You got to be careful how to lose weight. Now, a lot of my friends and people at school, I'm going to school, because I'm pursuing a degree in biomedical engineering. And this is me quite a few years ago when I had my Harley and everything else. And right before I ripped up, this picture was taken. This picture here, as you can see, I'm heavier here. That picture was taken before I got down to 180. I was right here. That was taken before, right before. And right here, as you can see, I got ripped up. I lost weight, and I was clean shaven, and this is where I'd scare the women into loving me. And when I walked the streets like that, people, some of the homeless people that usually bother and scary people, they'd see me, they'd walk to the other side of the street. Anyways, a lot of people think because my training's to them is eccentric, I have some ideas. They say it's insanity. So I sell shirts and DVDs and all my products to be paying off. I have a couple properties. This one property I want to go to a veterans group that houses disabled veterans, specifically with brain damage, because they have brain damage from the shelling, concussive shelling in Iraq, Iran, or Afghanistan, and they can't even remember to take their medications. So they need houses to live in to have somebody make sure that they're integrating the community and make sure they take their medication. So I got little debt, lots of equity, so I'm using all this to pay the money. So anyways, that's that, and I'll give a little more intro into the book itself. Thank you, and if you have any questions, to contact me at my website. Okay, thanks so much.